Somehow, every adventurer finds himself in a sewer at some point in his life, and Daniel is no different. Usually these levels tend to be a bit dull, but this one turned out rather okay. Quite a step up from the last sewer level I did in Penumbra Requiem. It was supposed to be a blue-tinted level, with a feeling of being cold and damp, but it stood out too much to really fit in with the other levels. We settled for
This here was my first job at scripting a puzzle. I must say that I like working on scripts, but that's probably because I love anything that looks or feels like programming. Scripting puzzles does not involve just writing a plain script. You also get to edit entities, create particle systems, set up stuff like areas and entities in the level to support the script. It is actually a lot of fun, and it allows for quite a bit of creativity. This particular puzzle is about having to jam a can of water mill to be able to get through it. But it first needs to be slowed down somehow. This is the machinery that controls the mill rotation speed. There is not much to say about this part, just a couple levers that change some values when moved, and do stuff when the right value is set. As you might already know, playing around with the combination of both levers, you can notice a background sound changing. At the time of working on this, there was no proper sound available for these background sounds, so I just picked some placeholders from what was in there already. I thought that creaky sound that is heard when the elevator falls down could do a nice one for the medium speed. How wrong I was. It was unbearable to say the least, so I just ended up removing all placeholders and leaving a to-do note in the script.
Somehow, every adventurer finds himself in a sewer at some point in his life, and Daniel is no different. Usually these levels tend to be a bit dull, but this one turned out rather okay. Quite a step up from the last sewer level I did in Penumbra Requiem. It was supposed to be a blue-tinted level, with a feeling of being cold and damp, but it stood out too much to really fit in with the other levels. We settled for a green tint on the brown dungeon set, as it worked nicely as a transition between the system's green stones and the brown torture nave level.
When I was looking at the concept art of Brute Monster, I thought that it should sound like one long tone which is coming from the tube. Because it doesn't have mouth, it should sound like hollow thing which can't make clear and complex vocalization. Firstly, I recorded lots of different kind of dogs and I edited them to play as one tone. I had lots of discussion with Jens and I think I got the right idea, but there was feeling that it was coming too close and it wasn't scary and blah blah blah. So it wasn't really scary. It was just big mess. I think I made something like 5 or 6 different versions, but problems didn't go away. Finally, I just removed the dog sounds and used my own voice. I made it with old metal sync, speaking through the tube and putting the microphone in front of the sync. And that way I got more control on the vocalization and tube kind of sound was natural because it was coming from actual tube. I think Brute's movements were the easiest ones for me. I knew from the beginning how I wanted it to sound. I wanted it to be very metallic since it has lots of metallic things in its body and it should be very heavy, scary guy. I was a little bit worried about how the high-pitched screeching would work, but it actually turned out great with the music, because the music is very low frequency and movement is high frequency, so there is nice spectre of sound. Together they make Brute even scarier.
After almost 2 years of continuous development of the editors, this was my very baptism of fire in level creation. My first big level edited ever, that is. Making the base for this level was my assignment for week 8 this year, and I must confess, I was pretty excited about it all. You know, not ever having used the editors in a real life run, I was wondering how well I was going to do. A good thing about me using the tools I am dedicated to develop is that I could get a close view on how they feel when working with them. And it's easier and quicker to get bugs fixed when working like this, as they usually get in the middle of the way and the only solution is just getting your hands dirty and fix them. This also works well for small features that don't take much time to add. I'm not sure which one I added from working on this level, but it usually starts like thinking, oh, being able to do this or that will be really nice, and ends up with the feature in the editor. Not everything works like this, you know. I actually have an endless list of stuff to add to the editors, but there is always so little time. They will come eventually, that's for sure, or maybe not.
Агриппа, только не засыпай. Ты чувствуешь шприц?
Нет, ничего не чувствую. Александр?
Да.
Скоро я даже двигаться не смогу, да?
Твоя жизнь в безопасности.
Верю. Только что это за жизнь? Стоит ли так жить?
The Agrippa Awaken sequence is inspired by the movie 7 when they find the sloth victim. I thought that scene was really disturbing, so it stuck to me. When writing the design of the Agrippa event, it came to mind instantly. A fun thing about Agrippa is that it was first supposed to be a severed head that was placed at several locations in the game. It then later turned into the guy that is in the game now. If you wonder why he does not have a lower jaw, then that's because we did not have the resources for voice sync. It was then worked into the story though, as Alexander does not want him talking when he shouldn't.
Помоги мне. Пожалуйста. выключатель. Спасибо. Я очень тебе благодарен. Меня зовут Агриппа. А тебя? Даниэль. Тебя зовут как пророка, брошенного ко львам? Скажи мне, Даниэль, львы уже окружили тебя? Ты хочешь остановить Александра? Понимаю. Ты жаждешь падения Вавилона. Ты зря волнуешься, мой мальчик. Без сферы Александр беспомощен. У него есть сфера? Это совсем нехорошо. В святилище практически не пробиться, если в нем есть сфера. Можно пробить барьер с помощью другой сферы. Но Александр сломал свою, то есть мою сферу давным-давно. Неужели? Если ты говоришь правду, тогда дерзай, мой мальчик. Найди осколки сферы и собери их. Полагаю, теперь он использует их для пыток. Они источают безумие, а ему это весьма полезно, как я понял. Их было 6. Посмотри на клиросе и розеточки. Они должны быть там.
Помоги ей. Найди способ.
Back on the level editing, it was an interesting experience to say the least. I started with the room with the door leading to level 22 and made my way up from there. I managed to build a reasonable base in a bit over a week's time. It took a bit long, having into account that not all models needed for the level were available at the time I started working on it, and that, blaming my inexperience in level building, I had to remake some parts a lot of times, like the room I started with. It was Marcus who took the level from where I left it, and I must say he did an awesome job. I'm not sure how much of my original work still stands in there, but the final version looks really sweet. I didn't get more level creation assignments after this one, possibly because I am actually more productive in other kinds of tasks, but I'm happy I had the chance to try.
Я знаю. Я уже был тут. Я помню этот вкус. Вкус дамасской розы, скрывающей правду в тумане. Они могут забрать мою память, но тело помнит. Раны говорят за себя, хоть память и молчит. Они вернутся со мной. О, да. Они еще вернутся.
Да нет, не хочу тебя вновь беспокоить, но... Если ты действительно хочешь убить Александра, может быть, ты возьмешь меня с собой? Я знаю, это звучит глупо, только взгляни на меня. Но если ты найдешь что-то, связанное с человеком по имени Иоганн Вейер, можешь принести это мне. Он работал над тем, как спасти меня, над эликсиром, который освободил бы меня от этого дряхлого тела. Кто я? Меня зовут Генрих Корнелий Агриппа. Знаешь, когда-то я был важным человеком.
Похоже на Ридженсбах.
In this level, it is easily done to not see the whole level. If you have all the ore pieces when coming here, you will get captured at the start and will not get a chance to see the rest of the level. There is a whole area to the east consisting of 2 very detailed rooms, so if you end up being captured on your first visit, make sure to come visit again.
Осталось совсем немного.
Я, словно Орфей, спускаюсь в царство Аида.
Что тебе известно?
О чем вы?
Ни о чем. Забудь. Твоя интуиция весьма развита.
Не уверен, что понимаю вас.
Не бери в голову. В конце концов, это лишь миф.
The Torture Chancel was an interesting level. It made a clear break from all the claustrophobic tunnels that make up the majority of our levels. It also presented a challenge since we had to fill that space with interesting pieces and still be able to run it on older computers. The idea of the level is to give the player a sense of what is to come, and to give them a feeling that maybe all this was here even before Alexander built his castle. As a contrast to the mystic shrines, we have an electric barrier in the back of the level. The idea and design of this bit is an homage to the movie Event Horizon.
августа, 1839 год. Похоже, ритуал изгнания потребует больше времени, чем мы планировали. Я занимаю себя тем, что помогаю с пленниками. Меня тошнит от этих отбросов общества. Ни один из них не может достойно встретить наказание. Эти гады лгут, что невиновны. Трусливо молят о пощаде. Даже не верится, что цивилизованный человек может так низко пасть. Я все время напоминаю себе, что все они отъявленные мерзавцы. Я даже благодарен Богу, что Он посылает нам этих гадов, чтобы они послужили моему спасению. Я пытаюсь изучать разные устройства в камере пыток. Опыта у меня пока мало, и в последний раз получилось грязновато. К следующему ритуалу ограждения я буду готов.
Что это, Даниэль? Чувство вины? Вини себя. Ты начал все это. Ты отправил мне письмо с просьбой о помощи. И вот как ты мне отплатил? Да как ты смеешь? В этих камерах содержатся пленники для ритуала. Люди, за которыми ты посылаешь, окажутся здесь. Помни, что заключение — это преддверие пытки, так называемая подготовка. Не забирай никого, пока они не будут готовы.
Понял.
Звуки из камеры пыток передаются сюда по трубам в потолке. Так ты контролируешь своих жертв. Пусть крики одного пленника заставят его сокамерника дрожать от страха.
Что ты хотел, мой мальчик? Даниэль, рад тебя видеть. Почему он захватил меня? Хотел-то он на самом деле заполучить не меня, а Иоганна Вейера. Как? Ты никогда не слышал о Вейере? Мальчик мой, он, возможно, величайший человек в истории, а ты не знаешь о нем. Неужели весь мир позабыл о нем? Даниэль, рад тебя видеть. Вейер был моим учеником. Моим? Да, я горжусь этим. Что в этом такого?